it is super sunny because, you know, Florida. Well, we are back down on the boat. Back on the boat? We're on the boat. It's Florida, and it is warm already. The AC is on in the boat, but it is non-functional. So one of the sort of challenging things about working on a boat in Florida in the summertime is it's just going to be ridiculously hot and humid. Not a big deal, you know. It's not a deal breaker, but it's just one of those things that you have to sort of take into account, like trying to get down to the boat early. We didn't do that. It is noon, so it's not yet the hottest part of the day, but it is pretty hot. In fact, I think, let me see if I can show you. So this is the really old AC readout. So you can see it's 83 degrees in here right now. The power is on, but the compressor is actually not doing anything. So it's just moving a little bit of air around, which is fine. It's nice to have a little bit of circulation. And really, we're down on the boat today, kind of shooting B-roll stuff. That's the goal anyway. There's a few different things I've got to do, you know, getting used to the camera setup, staying in frame. Let's see if it'll do it from there. Yeah, that's a little bit better. So really this is just us kind of messing around today. Having a little walk around the marina, showing you guys kind of where the boat is to a certain extent, obviously not exactly. And then also, you know, it's practice really for us, or for me, I should say, with the camera, because not particularly good with it. You know, still kind of figuring some things out. One of the things is when you get over 50 years old, is the eyesight thing, right? So the Osmo is really cool. However, that screen is pretty small. So I'm 6 feet away from it right now. I can see it better here than I can when it's in my hand, which is kind of funny. But anyway, so we're going to take some footage today. We got a few other things going on, and then hopefully we'll do some other stuff soon. In fact, I'm getting ready to walk outside, and Jenny's here.
Hi guys. Hola todos.
Yeah, so that's one thing we haven't really talked about is, you know, Jenny's first language is Spanish. Yeah. So it kind of works better for her to talk in Spanish. So I don't know if that's something that's interesting to you. I don't know, you know, bilingual viewers or couples like us where you have different primary languages in the household, in the boat hold? No, in the household. So if you do, great. And if Spanish is one of them, you're going to hear probably a fair amount of Spanish on the channel. So, but we'll go up top, we'll go for a walk. I'll show you guys the marina, and then I'll take some video of the boat from the other pier. So we'll walk over to the other pier, shoot the video back this way, so that you guys can get a more complete picture of the boat from the outside. So we're in our marina, or I say our marina, I guess it's mostly you guys' marina, because it is a federal marina, which is why we really don't shoot a lot of stuff outside. There's sort of a limit to what we show, you know, mostly out of respect to rules, regulations, and other people who are here, because they don't necessarily want to be on camera. But we are going to show the boat from the bow. So we're on the dock that faces ours, or that's adjacent to ours, and that way we can actually show you the bow of the boat. I think that's the only way we can really get a good image of it. In fact, we'll just turn this around and And she's on the right-hand side over there. We'll try and get right up next to her. That way we can give you guys kind of a better idea of what she looks like. Unfortunately, because of where we are, we cannot use a drone. It's illegal. And since I, not going to break those rules, just based on the fact that it's not a good idea to break rules, but also I could potentially lose the drone, lose my right to use the slip here. That would really suck, because on the economy, off base, out in the real world, the slip would be far more expensive. It would probably be almost double what we currently pay, and we just don't want to do that. So, so there's a good view of her. Not a lot of boats out here with a tower like that. Let's see if we can. And I got some nice neighbors. I'm very lucky. My neighbors are really cool. And this is a great marina in terms of protection. Very, very well protected marina. And there's always pretty people here. Not this one. But yeah, really well protected marina. The only problem we have though is there's the bridge and the highway over there, not the highway, but a major road right over there. So you can hear some of the trucks in the background. And it does push kind of a lot of soot and dirt off of the road. It gets in the air all the time. So at the moment, washing the boat's not really a concern of mine because that paint doesn't even have any finish on it really. So it's not really a big deal at the moment. But in the long run, after the boat is refinished, it does mean washing the boat more often. But in terms of a hurricane hole, this is a fantastic spot for bad weather. So nice place to be. We're very happy that we have this spot. So Jenny and I were walking and we were just talking about this. Let's see if I can get my gimbal to actually do what I want it to do. Now I got it locked somehow. So we were talking about the oysters and things, and she was asking why don't people take care of their boat? And this is a situation where I think some people aspire to have a boat, and then when they get one, they realize, the purchase price is just the cost of entry into the park, right? And then you got to pay for every single ride. So maintenance cost, everything else is high. And the boats here are lucky, the boaters here are lucky because they have low dockage. But at the same time, it means they can afford to hold on to something that has very little value. So there are quite a few boats here that are really, really run down that probably wouldn't be allowed in other marinas. So this is some of the interior. The main cabin was through here, and it's at the moment it's storage space for junk. You can see the original cushions, some rod holders up there. And the old mattress, some water damage, various different things, which extends over here. Let me see if I can shoot it from the other direction. It can be terribly backlit here. So, stuff from all the electronic upgrades, so boxes and everything from that. And then that normally would have a cushion on it as a sofa, but also I think they market it a little bit as a berth. I can't imagine you'd really want to stay there. And then same with that upper berth. I suppose if you had a small child who wanted to stay up there, that might be all right. And then on the other side, same kind of setup. There is a bit of a berth there. And then that leads right into the galley. And there's just a single step right there. And then behind the stairs, there's engine room access. And then this door, which is normally closed, leads into a head. And this is kind of a nice sized head for this boat. There's an actual stand-up shower. Which is kind of cool. But yeah, needs some love. And then the galley has all the old equipment in it, so old stove, old refrigerator, very old refrigerator. And of course, the built-in coffee maker, which I love. I think it's amazing that it's still here. I don't know what we're gonna do with it. It can't stay. I mean, there's just no benefit to us in keeping that there. So when we do ultimately rip this out, and unfortunately it is going to get completely ripped out, there's really not much we can do in terms of saving a lot of this stuff. I did have one guy on here, he's like, oh, I'm not very fancy, I'd be happy with this, just wash it down and, that would be it. But from my perspective, it really doesn't work very well for what we're looking to do. So it is going to come up, to include the sole, everything that's in here, even the step here. And I'm sorry, that's really badly backlit. And then we have some stuff that's just not germane anymore, like generator controls. There is no generator on this boat already. When we bought it, there was no generator. And we added a lithium battery. In fact, we have a controller behind there, and unfortunately that's permanently screwed down, so I want to put some hinges on there so that we can get to the controller. But there is an inverter, not a controller. So there's an inverter behind there, and we have a pretty large battery up near the cockpit. And then we also have two large 8D starting batteries, and we have a separate 12-volt battery for the DC side of the house bank. So at the moment there's 4 batteries on the boat, 2 just for the engine, 1 lithium for the that's a little better, 1 lithium for the AC side of the house bank, and then 1 sort of standard, you could think of it as an automotive size battery, 12-volt lead acid battery for the DC side of the house bank. Obviously in this, the ACs, we have 2 AC units and they're both running, we have 2 air conditioning units that are both running on AC power at the moment. They both need to be changed. They're both completely dead. So they may get changed to a DC powered air conditioning unit. That I don't know if that's the right way to go. I've seen people do it. This is not a particularly big boat. It's a 38 footer. And it's a big 38 footer, but most of that space is outside space. The cabin is just not that big. So it doesn't take a lot of air conditioning to cool this down at the end of the day. Let's see, what's next? Well, let me take this outside. I'll show you some more of the boat. I'll also try and figure this camera out a little bit better. I haven't quite got the hang of it yet. So if you see me zoom in on something instead of panning left or right, it's because I pressed the joystick. It's a DJI Osmo with the gimbal on it, and it's a great camera, fantastic camera. But operator error is the main problem. So this will give you a little bit of a view of the outside of the boat. It's going to be kind of hard to shoot. It is bright today, and I'm not going to be able to see the screen once I'm fully in the light. But with the helm station up, you can see we did put new electronics in, and I know a lot of people say, wait a second, you've got a lot of work to do. Why do you have electronics in the boat when everything else needs to happen? The reason for that was nothing worked, and we were doing the battery system anyway, so we made a decision to add the electronics now, even knowing that we were going to sort of demount them and eventually get into all the fiberglass work that has to go on around here. Now let's see if I can climb one-handed. I seriously doubt it. It was right there that I decided not to die today. Well, got to the end of the video and didn't have an outro. And didn't figure that out until we were doing some edits. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you everybody for watching, and I promise it may be slow, but I will get better at the camera work and the editing work. And if there's anything specific you want to see in the video, stick it down in the comments. That absolutely helps us. And, hit the like button on the channel. That's a huge help to us as well. It's totally free to do, and it's a great way to support what we're doing. So we really thank you for that. If you click on the actual channel itself and look at the channel info, there is a Patreon page on there. It's probably pretty optimistic of me to have that at the moment. But you don't get AdSense dollars or any money from YouTube until you have a certain amount of viewers, certain amount of videos, watch hours, and we're just not going to hit that for a little while. But all the expenses for the boat are ongoing, so anything that helps us offset those is a huge help, especially as we continue to try and not just make improvements, but just do the regular maintenance that we need to do in order to maintain the boat so that we can get to the next level of the channel, which is showing some of the upcoming maintenance, showing the projects, getting into actual projects that are, I don't want to say costly, but it's a boat, they're costly. And then getting to the phase where we're actually traveling around a bit. So I hope you don't mind my crazy background in here. This is my little hidey hole, my office on the back side of the house where I do my work. Some of you can probably see the reflection of my Union Jack that's covering my window. But again, thank you so much for watching. It's greatly appreciated. And, if you've got ideas for the channel, if you've got comments about the boat specifically, especially if you've had a Luhrs 38 or any kind of Luhrs, stick some comments in there. We'd love to read them. Thank you so much.